Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our next episode of Anthony's Journey. So, last time we talked about my first year at Baruch College, where I had to face some fierce competition in order to make it to the top 10 to the top 20 percentile in order to get the A's that I wanted to get. And, the reason that a lot of people feel that competition is important is because, it kind of brings out the best in you. And on top of that, when you look at those grades in the future, you're going to feel very proud of all the things you've accomplished. So it's important to understand like what your goals are and then really try to meet them as best as you can, because those are the things that you're going to carry with you in the future. So now let's talk through my second year at Baruch College, and actually my last year for my undergrad as well. So the first thing that I just want to talk about is that sometimes you can't really get too comfortable with the path that you're taking. So something that I really thought about in my second year at Baruch College was actually finding a job. So as we mature and go through college, we really need to think about like, hey, what's the next thing we need to do? So of course, for some of us, that's going to be taking on a master's degree. For others, it's going to be finding a career. So I was really pondering like what I really wanted to do at first, and I actually had a professor who kind of came up to me and said like, hey, like, here at Baruch we actually offer a 4+1 program. So I was thinking, so 4+1 program where effectively I could do my master's at Baruch, and then I would actually complete 5 years of college, of course, but I would have both a bachelor's and a master's. So my original plan was actually to find a job, but then I realized that having a master's would be great, because another friend of mine actually told me that if I had 150 credits, I could also get my CPA. So I felt like that was the right path for me at the time, and overall it has worked out for me where having my CPA has helped me a lot, having my master's has helped me a lot. Definitely having as much credentials as you can, especially in the field of interest that you are in, it's important to have those things. So now, as we go through the journey, I had to make a tough decision where, I was very focused on, my grades and ensuring that I got the best grades as I could. But at the same time, I did need funds in order to actually get to my master's degree. So I ended up actually applying for a job at a company called Relevant Sports. So Relevant Sports is a company that actually promotes soccer games. So they actually have a lot of soccer. They actually have soccer games in stadiums, and sometimes I would get like passes, and we would get to meet the players and things like that. And it was a great job while I was in school. And overall, the vibe at the office was amazing. Everyone was very nice. They were kind. And my main priorities, my main job duties while I was at this job was basically I would have to pay people out for their expenses. I would manage interns in terms of like their timesheets, and I would just record a lot of the expenses. So my main focus effectively was things that a staff accountant would do effectively. So this was actually my first taste of actual accounting work, in the sense of, outside of my internships, which, I did get like a small taste of accounting. This was like my first full-fledged accounting role. So it was very exciting, and I learned a bunch from, all the senior accountants, the controller. I did get a very good sense of like, what everyone's roles are, in the accounting world, just from being in this role. So, I was working towards being able to pay for my master's degree, so that's why I enrolled myself in Relevant Sports, and I cherish the experience, not just for the funds that I obtained, but also the amount of knowledge, the amount of friends that I made throughout the way, and it was an amazing experience. So, the one thing I will note is that because I was working, I did have a little less time to study. So, my time was much more limited now in terms of studying. So, one thing that I did note is that I wasn't able to focus as much on all of my studies. And at the same time, in this semester, I actually had a very important course to take. I had a course called Cost Accounting. Hello everyone, my name is Anthony, and I'm the host of TheLostSanctuary. I hope you've been enjoying our content so far, and if you have, please feel free to like and subscribe. Also, we have our website up here, And we also have some socials down here. And as always, leave your comments down below. I had an important course called cost accounting to take during this time as well. So this semester, cost accounting was actually one of the most difficult courses that I took at Baruch. And actually, it was actually one of the courses at Baruch College that made 60 to 70% of undergraduates actually get out of the program. So the one golden rule at Baruch is that if you fail a course 3 times, then you actually are kicked out of the program. So this was actually the course that made most of the undergraduates in accounting actually lose their spot here at the Zicklin School of Business. So, on top of working towards my future of being able to pay for my master's degree, I was also, contesting with this course where I was trying to do my best with this course. And overall, it was definitely something that, it was more based on about production, producing units of steel, producing cans. It was very productions based. That's what cost accounting is all about. And it wasn't my cup of tea personally, but it was definitely something I had to get through in my journey. So while I was working at Relevant Sports, I was also trying to keep up with my studies as best as I could. But at the end of the day, sometimes the moral of the story is that you need to make sacrifices sometimes, and not everything is going to come out perfect. And I'm going to tell you that for my own journey where because I was trying to earn money for my master's degree, I also wanted to ensure that I at least passed the course with a grade that I would be okay with. And to be honest, at the end of the day, I was pretty happy with the result where even though I didn't get an A in the course, in the cost accounting course, I did get a B+, so I made it through this hurdle. And on top of that, I also made a good amount of money for my master's degree. So overall, I was super happy that I was able to do both things, work towards my master, which is my future, my master's degree, and also be able to pass all my courses. My other courses, luckily, I did get an A in the other ones, but cost accounting was just very tough. It was very tough, and I needed to dedicate more time to it, but hey, that's the name of the game. You just got to make sure you keep pushing on, and sometimes not everything's going to go your way. So the next semester now, as I was heading towards my final semester now, my final semester had another challenging course, which to me was, it's funny. It's a course that would actually go to my next career choice. Funny enough, so the course that I want to talk about is audit. So the final course that gave me the most trouble was actually my audit course. So audit is a different kind of accounting in itself. So audit, you could think about it more like you're investigating a company, you're ensuring that they're being compliant, they're doing everything the right way. So it's a different kind of mindset than just kind of keeping the books where you're just hey, how much money did I make? How much did I spend? And it's definitely a different mindset overall. So, as one thing that I notice about myself is that when I have a change in mindset or a change in my normal behavior in terms of what I'm used to, I tend to not do as well. I tend to, kind of struggle at first, especially if it's going against something that I'm normally used to. So audit was this where essentially I kind of had to be not necessarily the bad guy, but I really had to kind of tell people that, hey, you're doing something incorrectly, which I don't enjoy doing, and you have to fix what you have. So as I was going through the audit course, I was doing pretty abysmal. I was doing maybe 60s, 70s on the exams, and I was having a lot of trouble. At one time I even thought man, if I could just get a D or C in this class, I would at least graduate from Baruch College. But then it just didn't sit right with me. I could have given up at that time and really just said hey, I'm gonna accept the D or the C in the course. But then it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like this was the right way to end this chapter in my life. So what I ended up doing after my second exam of not doing so well is that I actually started to visit the professor a lot more. So actually this professor is the one I met probably the most of all my professors at Baruch College. So I literally would meet my professor at every waking moment. So if he had office hours 2 or 3 times a week, I would go to all 3 times, and I would really dig into my mistakes on the exams that I took prior. So, I would talk through him and talk through the exam with him and kind of say, hey, so like why is this way? So really absorbing the information. I felt like when I was in class, and even though I was kind of recording him and kind of taking my notes, I never really understood kind of like the essence of audit, like what really is audit, in essence. So I think as I started talking to my professor more and more, I really understood that audit isn't just about getting people in trouble or getting firms in trouble, or really like trying to like dig into things just because you want to, but really it's a necessary evil in the sense of we need auditors in order to ensure that people are doing what they need to and things are being done the right way for the good of the public. So I really admire that, and I said, maybe audit should even be my first career. So I actually admired my professor so much, and his ideals, his values as a person, and I even thought about very heavily that maybe audit should be my first career path as an accountant. So it's really amazing to understand that it's just something that you thought you didn't really like could essentially become one of maybe your next stop on the path that you're taking for yourself. So as I work more closely with my professor, I really understood that audit wasn't as bad as I thought, and I was actually starting to really understand, to pick up the material, and really start to really dive into it. And I think that's what I needed. Sometimes you just need to immerse yourself in something in order to really understand it. And don't be afraid to do that, because I actually did that previously at LaGuardia when I immersed myself in biology. And sometimes you just need to make that choice of immersing yourself in something in order to be really good at it. So as I did that more and more, I actually ended up taking the final exam, and I ended up getting around I really was like a 95 or something on the final exam. And funny enough, like my professor, he could have decided, hey, like, yeah, you did great on the final exam, but you didn't really do so good on the first 2 exams. So I was, in all honesty, I wasn't really expecting like an A or anything on that course. But it's funny, the world has sometimes you're surprised at what the world offers you, and I was actually tearing up when I saw this, and my first actually ended up giving me an A. And he actually, I took that as something that not only did he see the change in me, but he saw the genuine interest that I had in him and in the course. So I think with the curve, I guess, with everything, I guess I ended up getting an A, and I was so happy. I never knew that there was miracles in the world, and you can actually, like, as long as you put your best foot forward, you can make it. You can make it to where you want to be. So now that I got that A in audit, which is the last hurdle that I needed to do to graduate from Baruch College, I was over the moon. I said, okay, so now that I have my associate's degree now, I have my bachelor's degree now. So now, and then of course I was saving up money from my job at Relevant Sports. So the next stop for me now was going towards my master's degree. But we will be saving that part of the journey for next episode. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job, and I'm wishing everyone out there all the best. All right, until next time, adios.